Yeah, thank you. ברשות רבנים, כל אחד במעלת כבודו. Last night in Ahir, as the rabbis mentioned, I gave the speech and my uncle requested that I give the same speech translated from Arabic into English. So, B'ezrat Hashem, it doesn't flow the same as you'll see the sentences my grandma used to say. It doesn't flow well from Arabic to English, but we'll do our best. As Rabbi Gindi mentioned, she's called Tete Jamul. I know her as Tete. I don't know her as Zuki Jeradeh's mother or Jamileh but Bahia. I know her as Tete. But again, she was the Tete of the whole community because I don't believe that there's a person that did not go to her, whether he was a Shami person, a Halabi person, a Lebanese person, people out of the country that went to her to see the smile on her face, to hear her beautiful words, to hear her berachot, just to get some musar from her. There's a Gemara Masechet Pesachim Daf Nun Vav. The Gemara mentions how Hiskiyahu HaMelech puts away the Sefer HaRefuot that Shlomo HaMelech composed. There's a mahloket between Rashi and the Rambam, why exactly did he hide it? But in short, people were relying on the Sefer, this book of remedies. Any remedy that you wanted under the sun, any sickness can be healed with this Sefer. So people were lacking the emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, using the Sefer. So Hiskiyahu HaMelech said it's time to pump up the energy in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so he ends up hiding the Sefer. Rabotai, I believe that the Sefer Refuot was by Matete. But there's a big difference between when she had the Sefer and the people of yesteryear had the Sefer. Because yes, she would heal you with the sentences she said, with the musar that she gave, with the berachot that she gave, but at the end of the day, she would always raise up her hands to Shamayim and say, it's not my beracha. You know, yesterday I joked that she had the same bottle of cream, maybe over 20 years. And this same bottle of cream healed people from anywhere from an infection on your body, to a headache, to whatever you wanted was in this jar of cream. But again, she would tell them, it's not this jar of cream. As Rabbi Ozeri mentioned, it's Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elohecha. So she would always raise up her hands to Shamayim and say, it's not me that's healing you. Don't forget, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Whereas the people by Hiskiyahu HaMelech's time lost the emunah peshuta in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She would raise her hands to Shamayim and say, remember, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does everything. Last time I went to visit her, I visited her a lot to get a beracha. I have a special needs child. So I went to her a lot to pray for my daughter. And the last thing she told me, I'll say it in Arabic, I'll try to translate it. She says, Allah ma bin sahada. HaKadosh Baruch Hu never forgets anyone. Arayat borei olam. There's Hashem in Shamayim. Bimshi ma'ak. He'll always walk with you. She always said those words from her mouth, borei olam. People always ask me, why do you keep on saying borei olam? I mean, say Hashem. Say HaKadosh Baruch Hu, say God. No. I learned from my grandma. Borei Olam, the creator of heaven and earth. The creator of everything. That's who we should believe in. Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elohecha. Rabbi Ozeri mentioned she didn't even know how to write her name, how to speak any other language, yet she was able to go to King's Highway in Brooklyn. She was able to shop, go to the grocery store. They knew exactly what she wanted. The aides that came to her house knew exactly what she needed. Pele atzum. How could it be? The lady doesn't even know your language. Yet she understood everyone. And everyone understood her. Pele atzum. Why? Because tamim tiyeh, when a person walks with HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'emunah peshuta, Rashi says, italech lefanav ve'al tahkol la'atidot. Don't worry about what's happening tomorrow. Shouldn't bother you, shouldn't mind you. Walk with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you have Hashem with you, that's all you need in your life. The video I'm sure circulating around that says, she always used to tell people, you wake up in the morning, you wash your face, you say, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And always say, Hashem, please take care of my wife, of my children, of my family. Put your hand on mezuzah before you leave to work. Put your hand on the mezuzah because the money that you're getting today is not your money. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving you the money. Where did she learn this concept of Shema Yisrael? I want to tell you what the Gemara Masechet Sotah Daf Mem Bet says. In this week's parasha, we have Kohen Mashuach Milchama. He goes out to the Milchama before Am Yisrael is going to wage war. Whoever was scared of the war would go back home. Whoever had a vineyard would go back home. Whoever got married would go back home. Finally, he tells them, Shema Yisrael atem kerebim hayom lemilchama al oibechem. Listen, O Israel, you're about to go wage war against your enemies. The famous question is, the obvious question is, I need someone to tell me I'm going to wage war against my enemy. That's why I'm here by the front line. I mean, that's why I left my house. Why do you have to tell me Shema Yisrael? So the Gemara Masechet Sotah says, Afilu en bachem zechut ela shel kiri'at shema bilvad. If the only merit that you have in your life, forget about knowing Torah, forget about everything. If the only merit that you have, the only zechut is that you know how to say Shema Yisrael, unifying Hashem in everything you do in your life, understanding and realizing that it's Hashem, it's all in Hashem's hands, that's enough for you to win the war. So Tete used to know that. I mean, she walked that. She exemplified that. That was her life. Shema Yisrael. Everything's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. People told me by the Shiv'ah, they used to see people outside our house, line outside our house on Avenue in East 7th. Line outside. What are you doing? The middle of the day, what are you doing? I'm going to get a beracha from Tete Jamul. That's how much they believed in this lady. Because she had that emunah peshuta in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She would always used to light candles. Shemen, always used to light shemen. Oil. Every day, 2 candles. On Friday, 5 candles. Anytime you go. In fact, today they sent, in the family chat that we have, they sent the ceiling, how blackened it was from all the candles that she lit, from all the oil that she lit. She always did light candles and say the same thing. Again, I'll say it in Arabic, I apologize. The oil gets rid of all the gezerot, all the ayn hara, all the bad things from you and from your family. And I always used to ask myself, what's so special about the oil? I mean, we know, neshama, shemen le'adlik le'anu nishmat tzaddik, but every single day, Tete, you're lighting oil every single day. Till I came across a hidah in a Sefer Debarim Ahadim. Rabotai, listen to what he says. He says, Shekhinah is Gematria 385. With the 5 letters of Shekhinah is 390. The same exact Gematria as Shemen. So you know what she was doing when she was lighting her oil, her shemen? She was infusing the Shekhinah inside her house. She was sending the Shekhinah inside of you. Her berachot contained the Shekhinah, contained the spiritual light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the awesome light of Hashem. And it's no wonder that her berachot worked, because she lived with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She lived with the Shekhinah. And that's why I said to myself, maybe we could explain the pasuk a little differently. Tob Shem, Mishem and Tob. You know why she had a good name? From the Shem and Tob that she used to light. Tob Shem. Her name is good. Why? Mishem and Tob. From the candle she always used to light. From the oil she always used to light. There's a pitgam, there's a saying that says, Kishmo kenhu. Which means whatever the person's name is, I mean, that's how he walks in his life. That's why it's very important not to name your children names of Resha'im. So her name was Jamileh. Jamileh in Arabic means beautiful lady. But she wasn't only a beautiful lady in her appearance. She was a beautiful lady in her smile. She was a beautiful lady in her berachot, in her speech, in her actions, in her sini'ut, rabotai. You would see my grandma on a hot day like today, and even hotter, covered up all the way to the top. Tete, it's very hot, you can't even breathe. What are you doing? No, sini'ut comes before everything, ya ibni. My son, seni'ut, modesty comes before anything. This is a lady that exemplified seni'ut, exemplified walking with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if I say that she was an Eshet Hayil, I'm underestimating it. I'm mizalzel in her kabod if I call her an Eshet Hayil. Because Tete was so much more. All the Pesukim that Shlomo HaMelech writes in Mishlei of Eshet Hayil, Tete was so much that and more. And every time I went to see Tete, I never saw her sleeping. The lady would be up at any time of the day, either berachot, either saying, she didn't know. Tehillim? She didn't know how to read Tehillim, yet she knew. My cousin would go to her every Hanukkah and light the candles over there. She would say Mizmor Shir Hanukkah Tabayt David by heart. How do you know this? She would never sleep. You know why? Because she valued the time that she has in this world. She knew that she has to make every minute count. And she would always say, El dunya fadiya ya ibni. This world means nothing. There's nothing in it. What are you running after? Imagine this. We're not talking about a 20, 30-year-old. We're talking about a 90-plus old lady. She walks with a little cart on King's Highway, as the rabbi mentioned. She would shop by herself. She didn't want any help from nobody. She would bring it back to her house, go up the steps, put it in her house, and she's telling you, El dunya fadiya, she's telling you this world means nothing, because she valued her time. How much more can I give to people in this world? How much more hesed, more berachot can I give to these people in this world? She used to get ready for Shabbat from Friday morning. Again, if we're talking about a 20, 30-year-old lady, it's understood. She's 90 plus and she's getting ready for Shabbat from Friday morning. Rabbi Duvi Shlita went to visit her once, Friday morning, and he sees that her table's ready. With the sambusak, with the cookies, with everything on the table for over 200 people. What are you doing it from Friday morning for? Because she valued the time. Let me get prepared for Shabbat, and the rest of the day I could give berachot. The rest of the day I could praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I could talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David HaMelech. It says in Gemara Shabbat, Masechet Shabbat Aflamid. David HaMelech asks Hashem, tell me when my day of passing is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, nobody knows the day of passing. Because again, if a person knows when he's going to pass, he'll make the shubah in a second. It's no chukhmah. So he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, at least tell me what day of the week I'm going to pass. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, Yom Shabbat. David HaMelech says, Shabbat, I mean, it's kind of hard. Shabbat, I read Tehillim, I compose a Tehillim, I want to read it. Shabbat, I learn Torah, Hashem, choose any other day. I'm willing to pass away on Sunday. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Sunday? Sunday, Shlomo HaMelech, your son, is going to be king. We can't have two kings in one day. Fine, understood. Let me pass away on Friday. Rabotai, listen what Kadosh Baruch Hu tells David HaMelech. He says, you're taking away from me one day of you learning Torah and saying Tehillim, and you want to pass away one day early? No. I'd rather have one day of you in this world than 1,000 korbanot that your son Shlomo will sacrifice in the future. That was Tete. She understood every minute in this world counts. She valued her time. We could live a long life, like Rabbi Yedid mentioned. We could live, but how many of those years are we really living? Hashem says, one day of Jamileh bat Bahia in this world, one extra day means more than 1,000 years of anybody else. And with this will end. She was very medagdek in the mitzvah of Levayat Orhim. Of course, she was medagdek with every mitzvah, but especially with this mitzvah of Levayat Orhim. Make sure that when you come to visit her, you would drink the coffee, but you wouldn't just leave by yourself. No. Tete, as a 96-year-old woman, to the last day on earth. Lo chahata aino velo nas leho, by Moshe Rabbeinu it says. She saw, she was able to see beautifully. She was able to remember everything, where you came from, your children's name, where you lived in Syria, everything. But she was very medagdek by escorting you outside of the house, walking you down the steps, making sure you got to where you needed to go, or get into your car. But why? What's so special about it? It's this week's parasha. Parashat Shofetim. We have the din of Igla Arufa. Not to get into the whole story, but the people by the border would have to wash their hands with the blood of the Igla Arufa. And the question is why? So the Gemara says, they have to say, Lefi shelo petarnuhu belo levaya. We made sure that before he left our house, we would send off the angels with him. That's why the mitzvah of Levayat Orhim is so important. And that's why Tete was very medagdek in this mitzvah. She would send off the Shekhinah that she just lit for you with her candles. Gematria Shemen, Shekhinah Gematria Shemen. She would send it off with you. She would send you off with the berachot. She would send you off making sure that the malachim go with you. Make sure that you're safeguarded. Make sure that nothing happens to you on the way. So, we can learn a lot from this tremendous lady, Jamileh bat Bahia, or as I call her, Tete. And she should be a Milisat Yosef for the family, and for the community. Thank you.